This is Bioshockraptor and welcome to our weekly podcast. Today I will be reviewing Ratchet Clank Tools of Destruction. In other countries it's Ratchet Clank Future Tools of Destruction, but I don't know why it's different here in Australia. Okay, so let's get this started. Ratchet Clank Tools of Destruction, which I'm going to refer to it as Future, is exclusive to the PlayStation 3 and was Insomniac's first Ratchet Clank game for the PS3 and was released October 23rd, 2007 in North America and on November 9th, 2007. It was created and published by Insomniac, the same company that released Resistance Fall of Man. Tools of Destruction is a platforming action-adventure game with plenty of explosions and weapons, while at the same time keeping it family-friendly. Okay, this is actually the 5th installment in the series. It's the 7th if you're counting the PSP spin-offs, but you won't need to play any previous games to understand this, and it could be treated as a standalone game, the first of a new series. So basically Ratchet and Clank get attacked by this emperor called Percival Tachyon, whose race was wiped out by Ratchet's race, the Lombaxes. It turns out Ratchet is the last of his kind, and there is a special weapon that has the power to do really bad stuff. They set off to find it, and it's a good story, simple, easy to follow, but the ending is a cliffhanger, which I won't spoil, and it kind of leaves you a little sad. Luckily, a sequel is in the works. You'll most likely enjoy following the duo along the way and visiting many planets. In fact, there's 19 playable worlds you can visit whenever you want, as long as you have unlocked them. I already mentioned the characters, but if you have never played a Ratchet and Clank game before, you'll probably be weirded out. Ratchet is a Lombax, which looks like overgrown ferrets with huge ears, and Clank is his little robot companion. They are a team. Ratchet handles the violence and Clank handles the technological smartness. Ratchet is the athletic, more physical induced one, and Clank is the brainiac, more smart and logical. They work well together, and the enemies look really cool and interesting. There are many funny and silly jokes that are cracked by the heroes, and you won't see characters like this in a game. I would say a lot of effort went into creating this vast world of aliens and humans alike. Some of them are more sensible than others, but none of them look bad. The gameplay is simple and fun. It isn't that great or spectacular when it comes to the combos, seeing there is only one melee combo, which is pressing square 3 times in a row, but the platforming is great. There's grind rails, gravity walls, and awesome segments where you get to fly by tilting the 6-axis controller, which I'll talk about next. The combat is fun with all the guns you get and use, but the basic combat you do with the wrench is sort of dull, so it's obvious the game wants you to use the guns you buy. You collect money, which are bolts in this game, by destroying enemies, and when you find a vending machine, you can buy ammo and/or weapons. There are 2 ways to upgrade your weapons, both of which you will end up wanting and needing to do to defeat stronger enemies. You can collect rare titanium by defeating certain enemies, and that's what you use to upgrade your weapons in ways like get extra bolts, extra ammo, extra damage, extra rare titanium, etc. when you hit them. The other way to upgrade your weapons is to just use them. The more you use them, the more they upgrade. When they're upgraded to level 5, you can buy a mod from the vendors which allow you to upgrade them to level 10, but it costs much more bolts. It's great fun, not hard and not easy. I loved it. And the controls are just spot on. Very simple and not dull at all. You will not be mad or disappointed playing through the game with these controls. Absolutely perfect. Nothing wrong with it at all. They are all in the right spot. For example, you could be running sideways and need to jump and shoot at the same time. But instead of trying to press X and circle at the same time, you could press X and R1. So you could do either one depending on which feels more comfortable. Also, you can zoom in by pressing a certain shoulder button instead of, like in many FPS games, clicking the analog stick, which I've always had a problem and annoyance with. Now, the graphics are great too. It seems alright at first, but not until you actually zoom in and see how good they are. They're perfect for the game, and there aren't anything wrong with it. The textures are brilliant and the backgrounds are spectacular, especially the first level. Everything is going on at once, and there aren't any glitches that you notice straight off, unless you tried finding them and look really hard. But there aren't that many anyway. This is definitely next generation high definition, and I was thinking all this when I first played it on standard definition television, so high def is simply amazing. The music isn't very noticeable in Ratchet Clank Future. It's pretty good if you actually listen to it. The voice acting is some of the best I've seen in the game, and the sound effects fit perfectly. Did you know the same person who voices Ratchet voices Titus from Final Fantasy X? The music isn't a nominee for an award or anything, but it isn't bad. I would say it's a bit over average. Unlike a few previous installments, this game has no multiplayer whatsoever. In Ratchet Clank 2 there was a minigame which 2 players could participate in. In Ratchet Clank 3 you could play up to 4 players online and offline. Ratchet Clank 4, aka Ratchet Gladiator, had both of these elements and also featured a co-op campaign, the same as a single player campaign but with 2 players. I don't know why they didn't continue the multiplayer, but I'm pretty disappointed. It might have been because the main focus was something else, but I definitely think it would have been better off with online multiplayer. In Tools of Destruction, there isn't even local offline multiplayer. So this game will last you at least a weekend if you're a hardcore gamer. It isn't very long and is obviously aimed at younger gamers instead of older ones. You'll probably be disappointed if you're thinking you're getting a real lot out of it before the story is over. It is still pretty long, much over 15 hours worth. It just depends on if you want to get skill points and upgrade your weapons to their maximum, etc. The replay value in this game is pretty big though. You can go through and achieve all the skill points, get all the weapons, all the upgrades and so on. You'll play it again a second time most certainly. It really does suck you in, but when you're done there isn't really much to do. After I completed everything in the game, I picked it up a few months later and started a new save file on my hard drive and played that for a while. It's great to go through again, and it's a nice break from all the FPS and hack and slash games that we have these days. This is one of my favourite games and franchises, and it features some of the very best platforming and action you'll find in the game. It's got a great story. It will appeal to young and old audiences, old and newcomers to the series, and has really good voice acting features in the game. The sound effects fit perfectly and are amazing, along with the extremely detailed graphics, planets and character models. It's just an awesome action adventure. If it was a movie, it would be an instant blockbuster classic, I would say. It's just too bad that Insomniac didn't include multiplayer in this installment, and the length just isn't that great. Overall, this is an amazing game that should be bought if you're one who cares more about just having a fun time. Story 4 out of 5, characters 5, gameplay 5, controls 5, graphics 5, music 4, multiplayer 0, length 3, replay value 4. Overall rating 9. Superb.